Imagine this. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, everyone straightens up. Their laughter dims, and an uneasy hush settles over the space. They don't know why, but something about your presence, your energy commands attention. Not through threats, not through yelling, just silence. Real power isn't loud. It's not about boasting or making a scene. It's the silent force that makes people hesitate, second guess, and tread carefully around you. Think of a predator in the wild. It doesn't roar before the attack. It watches, waits, unreadable. That stillness alone is enough to send a chill down the spine of its prey. Now imagine applying that to your own life. When your enemies can't predict your next move, when they can't read your emotions, when they sense an unshakable strength in your silence, fear creeps in. In today's video, we'll break down 7 Stoic strategies that will make your presence unshakable, your enemies uneasy, and your power undeniable. Master these, and you won't just be respected, you'll be feared. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's begin. 1. Master your emotions. Mastering your emotions is one of the most powerful ways to gain control and make your enemies fear you, yet it's one of the hardest skills to develop. When someone pushes your buttons, when they try to get under your skin, the most natural response is to react, often with anger, frustration, or a flurry of defensive behavior. But here's the twist. Showing anger or frustration only reveals weakness. When you let your emotions control you, you inadvertently hand your enemy the power to unsettle you. At that moment, they've already won because your loss of composure gives them the upper hand. Consider for a moment the true strength of remaining calm. When your adversary's attempts to provoke you fall flat, when they see you standing there, completely unaffected, it forces them to question themselves. They no longer know how to handle someone who refuses to be emotionally volatile or easy to manipulate. That steady calm becomes your secret weapon, and it's exactly what they fear the most. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. This isn't about stifling your feelings or pretending nothing bothers you. It's about recognizing that your inner peace is the testimonial's ultimate form of power. I remember a time when I worked with a colleague, let's call him Jim, who was known for his relentless attempts to rile people up. Jim had a knack for making snide comments during meetings, always trying to bait his coworkers into heated exchanges. At first, I found myself reacting instinctively, firing off a quick retort or defensively justifying my ideas. But I soon noticed that every time I reacted, Jim's smirk grew wider, and he seemed to relish the disruption he caused. It dawned on me that by reacting, I was actually giving him exactly what he wanted, a reason to undermine my confidence and portray me as unstable. So, I made a conscious decision to try something different. The next time Jim tried to bait me, I simply paused, took a deep breath, and maintained a steady, composed expression. I didn't offer any verbal retort, I just remained unruffled. Over time, Jim's attempts to provoke me dwindled because he couldn't get the reaction he craved. It was as if my calmness forced him to reevaluate his own behavior, leaving him frustrated and unsure of how to proceed. Now, let's dig a bit deeper into the psychology behind this. Human beings are wired to react emotionally as a survival mechanism, but in modern life, these reactions can be counterproductive. When you allow emotions to dictate your actions, you're essentially handing over the reins of your mind to external forces. The moment you lose control, you become susceptible to manipulation. In contrast, when you master your emotional responses, you remain in command of your own destiny. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, your responses, and letting go of what is not other people's actions and opinions. For many of us, especially as we navigate the challenges of midlife and beyond, maintaining emotional control can seem like an uphill battle. It's easy to get caught up in the chaos of everyday frustrations, traffic, minor mishaps at work, or even a snarky remark in passing. But here's a little secret. Each moment you choose calm over chaos, you build an inner fortress that not only shields you from negativity, but also commands respect. Imagine a ripple effect where your calmness influences others, setting a tone of quiet strength that permeates every interaction. In essence, by controlling your own emotions, you create an environment where your power is evident without ever having to raise your voice. The journey toward emotional mastery isn't about suppressing your feelings or ignoring your human nature. It's about understanding your triggers, acknowledging what provokes you, and then deliberately choosing a different path. When you find yourself in a heated moment, instead of reacting impulsively, try a few deep breaths. Center yourself and remind yourself that true strength lies in composure. It's a skill that, like any other, requires practice and persistence. And believe me, even a slight shift in how you handle these moments can transform not only how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. Embrace the Stoic wisdom that teaches us to control our inner state. By doing so, you not only protect yourself from being unseated by external provocations, but also cultivate a presence that naturally discourages any attempts at manipulation. And in that quiet, measured way, you gain not just control over your emotions, but also the power to shape your own destiny. 2. Maintain an unshakable presence. There's a kind of confidence that turns heads when you walk into a room, not the loud, attention-seeking kind, but the quiet, undeniable presence that commands respect without a single word. It's the kind of confidence built on self-assurance, not arrogance. It doesn't need validation because it already knows its worth. And when you have it, people can feel it. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a guy named Daniel. He wasn't the loudest person in the room, nor did he ever try to impress anyone. Yet people gravitated toward him. His presence was powerful, not because he dominated conversations, but because of how he carried himself, with a sense of ease, purpose, and quiet confidence. He stood tall, moved with intention, and never felt the need to prove himself. The most remarkable thing, even those who barely knew him treated him with immediate respect. He didn't demand it, he simply exuded it. This is the power of maintaining an unshakable presence. It's about embodying confidence in a way that speaks louder than words. And the secret to achieving this? It's rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom. Lao Tzu once said, "Silence is a source of great strength." Think about that for a moment. True confidence doesn't always come from talking, explaining, or asserting yourself. Sometimes it's the quiet, composed individual who commands the most attention. Why? Because silence, when used intentionally, signals control. It tells the world, I don't need to prove anything. I already know my worth. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I cultivate this kind of presence? The answer lies in 3 key principles. First, stand tall literally and figuratively. Your posture plays a massive role in how you are perceived. Shoulders back, head high, feet planted firmly on the ground. When you take up space with confidence, the world responds accordingly. A slouched posture screams insecurity. A strong, upright stance radiates self-respect. Second, move deliberately. Every step, every gesture should have intention behind it. People who rush, fidget, or hesitate send signals of uncertainty. But when you move with purpose, whether it's reaching for a glass of water or walking across a room, you show the world that you are in control. This subtle shift in behavior can change how people perceive you without you ever saying a word. And finally, embrace silence. Let your presence do the talking. In social settings, resist the urge to fill every gap in conversation. In moments of tension, hold your ground without unnecessary words. When someone tries to provoke you, don't react emotionally. Pause, breathe, and let the silence make them uncomfortable instead. The ability to stay composed in any situation is one of the most powerful traits a person can have. This is where Stoicism offers a profound advantage. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, believed that the strength of a person lies in their ability to control their mind and emotions. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The world may throw distractions, criticism, and negativity your way, but when you maintain your inner composure, nothing can shake you." That's real power. The truth is, respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you embody. And once you master the art of presence, people will start to see you in a completely different light, not because you told them to, but because they can feel it. So, the next time you enter a room, remember this: stand tall, move deliberately, and embrace silence. The world will notice, and more importantly, you'll notice the shift within yourself. That's when you'll realize you don't need to prove anything, you simply are. 3. Let your actions speak. In a world where everyone is eager to talk about their ambitions, the rarest and most powerful thing you can do is stay silent and take action. Talk is cheap. Promises are easy. But the real weight, the real impact, comes from proof, undeniable proof that you are exactly who you claim to be. People don't respect words, they respect results. And the moment you stop explaining yourself and start letting your actions do the talking, everything changes. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't believe in boasting about virtue, they believed in living it. Epictetus taught that a wise man doesn't need to announce his wisdom, just as a strong man doesn't need to declare his strength. It's obvious. When you focus on action instead of validation, you become unshakable. Your work ethic, your discipline, and your resilience become the loudest things in the room, demanding respect without a single word. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and a Roman emperor, didn't waste time making speeches about what kind of leader he was. He proved it through his actions. Despite ruling the most powerful empire in the world, he remained disciplined, humble, and committed to his duty. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That's the essence of true power. Stop talking, start doing. Seneca also believed that actions define a person's worth, not words. He advised people to live with such integrity and discipline that their reputation would build itself. He said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That's a lesson most people miss. They think success comes from persuading others, when in reality, success comes from consistent, disciplined effort. You don't need to convince people of your strength when your results prove it. Too many people focus on telling the world who they are instead of showing it. They want recognition before they've done the work. But here's the truth. The world doesn't reward intentions, only execution. Words can be doubted, manipulated, or forgotten. Actions cannot. They are the purest reflection of who you are. So, if you want to be respected, if you want to be feared, stop telling people what you'll do, just do it. Let your work be the proof. And watch how the world responds. Your discipline, your endurance, and your ability to show up, even when nobody's watching, that is what builds real power. 4. Never overreact to insults. One of the most powerful tools you have in controlling your emotions and maintaining your dignity is refusing to overreact to insults. It's natural to feel the urge to defend yourself when someone attacks you, to fire back, to prove them wrong. But here's the harsh truth. Reacting emotionally hands them exactly what they want. Every time you get angry, flustered, or defensive, you're giving them control over your emotions. You're showing them your weak spots, letting them see what gets under your skin. And the moment they know how to provoke you, they've already won. But there's a secret weapon that flips the script: indifference. When you refuse to react, when you stay calm in the face of an insult, you take back all the power. Your indifference makes them question their own significance. It makes them wonder why their words don't affect you, why they can't get the rise they were hoping for. And that frustration, that's them realizing they have no control over you. The more you remain unshaken, the more you expose the truth. Their opinion holds no weight in your world. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes invaluable. The Stoics believed that our emotional state is entirely within our control, not dictated by the words or actions of others. Epictetus taught, what happens to you is beyond your control, but how you respond, that's all you. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you master your reactions, you stop being a puppet to other people's provocations. You maintain your inner peace, and you rise above the petty chaos of those trying to pull you down. I once knew a man, let's call him James, who had a coworker who constantly took jabs at him. It was subtle at first, little sarcastic remarks in meetings, passive-aggressive digs disguised as jokes. At first, James played into it, trying to outwit his colleague, proving he wasn't weak. But the more he engaged, the worse it got. It became a game, and his coworker was winning. Then James made a change. Instead of reacting, he simply stopped responding. He let the comments pass without acknowledgement, stayed calm, and refused to give his coworker any satisfaction. And just like that, the insults started fading. His coworker, realizing there was no longer a game to play, moved on. The power dynamic had shifted, and James had won not by fighting back, but by refusing to engage. So, how do you avoid overreacting to insults? First, practice self-awareness. When someone insults you, pause. Take a breath before you react. Ask yourself, does this really deserve my energy? Second, control your emotions. The moment you let someone else dictate your feelings, you've already lost. And finally, embrace indifference. Not every insult needs a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. At the end of the day, the greatest power lies in your ability to remain unaffected by the words of others. When you stop letting people pull your strings, you become untouchable. And when they realize they can't control you, they lose all control over the situation. Master this, and you'll never have to waste energy on petty insults again. 5. Control what they know about you. One of the most strategic ways to protect yourself and maintain control over your life is by managing what others know about you. In a world where people are constantly observing, analyzing, and trying to figure you out, it's easy to give away more than you should: your weaknesses, your ambitions, your insecurities. But here's the truth. The more predictable you are, the easier it becomes for others to manipulate or undermine you. The key is to maintain an air of mystery and control the information that people have access to. When others can't predict your next move, they lose their power over you. The reality is, if people know exactly how you'll react, what your triggers are, or what you deeply desire, they can use that knowledge against you. But when you control what they know about you, you strip them of that advantage. This doesn't mean you should be deceptive or dishonest. It simply means you don't owe everyone full access to your thoughts, plans, and emotions. By keeping certain things to yourself, you protect your peace, prevent unnecessary interference, and ensure that no one can manipulate you into making decisions you're not comfortable with. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes invaluable. Sun Tzu famously said, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." True strength lies in knowing when to reveal information and when to withhold it. If you are always open and transparent, people will know exactly where to strike. But if you keep some things private, your doubts, your next move, your vulnerabilities, you make it significantly harder for anyone to gain the upper hand over you. Being unpredictable makes you a challenge to those who might try to manipulate or take advantage of you. I once knew a business owner who had a habit of sharing every challenge he faced with his competitors. He believed that openness would build goodwill and create opportunities for collaboration. But what he didn't realize was that the very people he trusted with his struggles were using that information to position themselves against him. Every time he admitted a weakness, his competitors took advantage of it, swooping in to offer customers better deals or using his financial struggles to outmaneuver him. Eventually, he wised up. He stopped broadcasting his problems and instead focused on maintaining a strong, composed presence. The change was remarkable. Without insight into his vulnerabilities, his competitors could no longer predict his decisions or exploit his setbacks. He regained control not by lying, but by being selective with what he shared. So, how do you apply this in your own life? First, be mindful of what you share. Not everyone needs to know your thoughts, goals, or insecurities. Some people only listen so they can use information against you later. Second, embrace mystery. The less predictable you are, the harder it is for others to manipulate you. And finally, use your strength strategically. Show it when necessary, but don't reveal all your cards at once. True power lies in discretion. At the end of the day, the less others know about you, the more control you have over your own life. Protect your inner world, keep some things to yourself, and watch how much harder it becomes for anyone to manipulate or undermine you. In a world that constantly demands transparency, mastering the art of quiet control is what sets truly powerful individuals apart. If you've made it this far, I truly appreciate you. Don't forget to leave a comment with, "Thank God," and give this video a like if you found it valuable. Your support means a lot. It motivates me to keep creating insightful content that helps us grow together. 6. Make power moves in silence. One of the most strategic ways to protect your success is by making power moves in silence. In a world where everyone is eager to announce their goals, plans, and next big moves, there's something incredibly powerful about keeping your ambitions private. The moment you share your next step, you give others a chance to interfere, criticize, or even sabotage your progress. But when you work in silence, your actions speak louder than words, and your results become the ultimate proof of your capabilities. Here's the truth. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the more distractions you invite. People will offer unsolicited advice, express doubts, or even attempt to discourage you, sometimes intentionally, sometimes out of their own fears and limitations. By keeping your plans to yourself, you strip them of the power to influence your path. No one can delay what they don't see coming. You become unstoppable not because you announce every move, but because you execute without the weight of external interference. The less noise you make, the more progress you achieve, free from judgment, skepticism, or resistance. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes invaluable. Epictetus once said, "Do not explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, your actions should be the proof of who you are and what you stand for. You don't need to justify or explain your journey. Let your results do the talking. The more you embody your vision through disciplined action, the less you need to say. People will recognize your commitment, resilience, and discipline not through words, but through undeniable evidence of your growth and achievements. This philosophy isn't just Stoic, it's echoed by some of the most successful people in history. Steve Jobs once said, "I'm as proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do." He understood that strategic silence was just as powerful as action. Apple never announced its next big innovation before it was ready. The company thrived on secrecy, letting the finished product speak for itself. And that's why, when Apple launched something new, it was never met with doubts or interference, only impact. I once knew an entrepreneur who learned this lesson the hard way. She had a brilliant business idea and, out of excitement, shared every detail with friends, family, and colleagues. At first, it felt empowering getting feedback, discussing strategies, hearing others acknowledge her vision. But soon, she realized that the more she spoke about her plans, the more obstacles appeared. Some people questioned whether she had the skills to pull it off. Others offered advice that led her off course. And a few even attempted to pursue similar ideas themselves. The constant opinions started to shake her confidence. Then she made a shift. She stopped talking and started doing. She focused solely on execution, keeping her progress to herself. And when she finally launched her business, the results spoke for themselves. By the time people noticed her success, it was already too late to stop her. So, how do you make power moves in silence? First, keep your plans to yourself. The fewer people who know your next step, the fewer distractions you'll face. Second, stay focused. Stop talking about what you're going to do and concentrate on what you're actually doing. And finally, let your results be your proof. When your success becomes visible, you won't have to explain a thing. At the end of the day, true power comes from what you do, not what you say. By making power moves in silence and allowing your results to speak for themselves, you show the world your strength without ever needing to announce it. Keep your ambitions private, stay focused, and watch how your success becomes the loudest statement you can make. 7. Be unapologetically yourself. Did you know that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions per day? Yet, despite this staggering number, most people hesitate when it comes to the most important decision of all, being themselves. In a world where people constantly seek approval, blend in, and mold themselves to fit expectations, there's something incredibly liberating about standing your ground and embracing who you truly are. When you stop chasing validation and pretending to be someone you're not, you gain a level of respect and admiration that others can't even begin to comprehend. Here's the truth. When you stop trying to fit in, you become untouchable. The moment you embrace your authenticity, you shift the power dynamic. You no longer live to please or impress anyone, and that in itself makes you stand out. The people who truly matter will appreciate you for your uniqueness, and those who can't handle it will fade away. Either way, you win. By being unapologetically yourself, you stop allowing others to define you, you define yourself. And that's where real strength lies. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. The Stoics believed in living in alignment with one's true nature, acting virtuously regardless of public opinion. They understood that seeking approval is a trap that leads to frustration and self-betrayal. As Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." When you stop trying to fit in, you stop being a prisoner of external expectations. Instead, you gain an inner freedom that no one can take away. History is filled with people who refused to conform, and in doing so, left an undeniable mark on the world. Take Nikola Tesla, for example. Unlike his peers, he wasn't concerned with fame, validation, or societal approval. He dedicated himself to his ideas, working relentlessly in isolation, while others mocked him for being unconventional. While critics dismissed him, he changed the course of history with his innovations. He never sought acceptance, he sought truth. and that made him unstoppable. This is the power of living unapologetically. When you stop filtering yourself to meet the expectations of others, you create space for true greatness. So, how do you become unapologetically yourself? First, stop seeking validation from others. You don't need anyone's approval to be who you are. Second, embrace your uniqueness. The things that make you different are your greatest strengths. And finally, live by your own standards, not those imposed by society. When you start living authentically, your life becomes a reflection of your true self, and nothing can hold you back. At the end of the day, when you stop trying to fit in, you break free from the limitations set by others. Be unapologetically yourself, not because you're trying to stand out, but because you've finally chosen to live in your own truth. Own who you are and watch as the world begins to respect you for it. I would love to hear about your journey and triumphs. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. If you're not sure what to comment, just write, "I can do it," to show that you've completed this session. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.